Welcome to this video on Architecture Decision Records, or ADRs. We'll be exploring why documenting the why behind architectural choices is crucial. The most costly architectural mistakes are often forgotten decisions, not necessarily bad ones. This program is brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team as part of the AWS for Product Team series.
Imagine the 2 a.m. incident problem. Something is broken, and your on-call engineer is struggling to understand a service they didn't write with no documentation. The root cause? Lack of documentation on past debates. This is a documentation problem with a simple fix. An architecture decision record, or ADR, is a short document capturing a single architectural decision: what was chosen, why, and what alternatives were ruled out. ADRs live in your code repository, take little time to create, and provide long-term value. ADRs serve as a living product memory, documenting 4 key things: what was decided, the best choice at the time, why it was chosen, the reasoning and constraints, what was ruled out, the rejected alternatives, and when to revisit, conditions that would trigger re-examination. From a product manager's perspective, ADRs are highly valuable. PMs often feel the pain of undocumented decisions when onboarding new team members, scoping features, or explaining complexity to stakeholders. ADRs help resolve these issues. ADRs provide 3 benefits for PMs: faster onboarding by quickly explaining system choices, better questions and planning by knowing past constraints, and scope creep defense, making it easier to push back on requests that conflict with documented constraints. Teams that don't document decisions often repeat the same debates, wasting senior engineering time. Their real cost is the erosion of team confidence when nothing feels settled. ADRs short-circuit this loop and create psychological clarity. From a developer angle, we suggest starting with 3 foundational ADRs that cover decisions with the highest blast radius. These 3 records alone can answer 80% of the "why does it work this way" questions you will receive. ADR number 1 is the compute choice. Document whether you use Lambda, ECS, or EC2. Capture the chosen approach, why it was right for the workload, the traffic patterns that drove the choice, and what would trigger a reconsideration. ADR number 2 is the data store choice. This decision has long-term implications. Document the chosen service and configuration, the access pattern assumptions that made it the right fit, and the scale thresholds for a revisit. The key is documenting the specific access pattern. ADR number 3 covers API design approach. This includes the paradigm like REST or GraphQL, the gateway and auth pattern, and the versioning and contract strategy. Documenting the contract strategy early avoids painful "when did we change that endpoint" conversations. The anatomy of a good ADR is that it should be short, plain language, and written for a reader with product context, but who wasn't present for the decision. It is a record of a specific, bounded choice, not an entire design document. This markdown template provides a clear structure for an ADR, including sections for context, decision, rationale, alternatives considered, and consequences. A good ADR fits comfortably in a single screen. Setting up the ADR process is simple. Create a /docs/decisions folder in your repository, add a template file, adopt a predictable naming convention like 0 padded sequential numbers, and add an ADR review to your PR checklist. The suggested naming convention, NNN-short-decision-title.md, works because it is sortable, linkable from PR comments, stable even when decisions are superseded, and scannable for new team members to grasp the decision history quickly. The ADR status lifecycle tracks the decision's state. It moves from proposed to accepted when the team agrees. Decisions can become deprecated, meaning they are no longer recommended, or superseded when a newer ADR replaces them. Never delete old ADRs. The history is important. A 5-minute PR review step prevents architectural drift. Adding a quick checklist to your PR template, asking if the change reflects or requires an architectural decision, forces a necessary conversation. This process creates a forcing function for clarity without blocking velocity. Write an ADR when a decision is hard to reverse, like database or API contract choices. Also, write one when reasonable engineers would disagree on the best solution, or when the same debate has occurred more than once. Document the tiebreaker and the reasoning. Do not write ADRs for library version bumps, refactors that don't change behavior, obvious choices, or easily reversible decisions. The rule of thumb: If a competent engineer would wonder why you did this 6 months from now, write the ADR. Aim for signal density, not volume. Writing in plain language is the test of comprehension. If you can't articulate a trade-off simply, you don't fully understand it yet. A vague rationale, like "we chose it because it's scalable," signals the team hasn't finished the decision. Dig deeper into the actual constraints. ADRs are the cheapest insurance your team can buy against inevitable problems like team turnover, scope creep, and incidents. The critical question is whether your team faces these challenges with context or without it. The real cost of not having ADRs is significant. 60% of software teams report significant time lost to "why was this built this way?" questions. Undocumented decisions are typically relitigated within 6 months. The good news is the average time to write a useful ADR is only 30 minutes. ADRs focus on a single decision, have an audience of future team members, take minutes to write, stay relevant for years, and live directly in the code repository. They complement, but do not replace, larger design documents. Product managers can use ADRs in 3 ways. Read them during onboarding to understand constraints quickly, reference them in feature grooming to prevent scope creep, and request ADRs for new key architectural decisions before work begins. Avoid common anti-patterns like the justification ADR, written after the fact, the novel ADR, which is too long, the orphaned ADR, which is outdated and misleading, and the vague rationale, which doesn't explain the specific trade-offs. This is a real example of an ADR for a compute choice. It captures the date, status, decision, and rationale, noting constraints like bursty traffic and lack of a dedicated DevOps team. It also outlines the consequences and conditions for revisiting the decision. ADRs mitigate the risk of team turnover. When a key engineer leaves, ADRs preserve their architectural decisions and reasoning, enabling a replacement to become productive in days instead of weeks by answering the critical question, "Why does it look like this?" ADRs defend against scope creep. They document constraints that prevent implicit violations by seemingly reasonable feature requests. With an ADR, the conversation shifts to intentional trade-offs, preventing costly discoveries late in the development cycle. The lightweight ADR process involves identifying the decision, drafting the ADR, conducting a quick team review, and then merging it and referencing it in the code. The entire process should take under 2 hours to ensure engineers consistently use it. In summary, ADRs are cheap insurance, costing 30 minutes to write. Start with 3 core ADRs to answer most questions. Keep the process lightweight to ensure adoption, and remember that the act of writing is itself a comprehension test. Up next in the video series, we will cover the Architecture Review Workshop. This process aligns product managers and developers on system design quickly, helping your team settle on the architecture before building begins.